In the upper levels of Ul'dah, you can find Frondale's Frontiserie, or more easily pronounced, the Alchemist Guild. The guild was founded a long time ago, during the time when alchemy was seen as little more than back-alley witchcraft. It was the time when the main focus of many alchemists was to find the way to turn base metal into gold, to find cure for all ailments, or even the fabled Philosopher's Stone, which grants the bearer eternal life. But with the guild's founding and the hard work of its members, it gained credibility, and in time the idea of alchemy was reformed. While there are still those within the guild that explore the more mystical forms of alchemy, now the guild's main focus is the treatment of ailments and disease. As many physicians start their career training with the guild, outside of the medical arts, they are also procuring variety of materials and concoctions to help the various people of Eorzea. The modern guild has grown to house several different medical facilities, with their focus on everything from the traditional to the newer discovered alchemical medicine. The guild even houses an infirmary, though that one is only accessible to the wealthiest of the city. We step into the guild on a warm Thanalan day in the hopes of learning the secret arts of alchemy, only to be faced with what is truly a tragic tale. As we join the guild, we quickly meet Severian, our guild master, who is at the moment deeply focused on his latest experiment. And the only reason we actually get to join the guild is simply because he realizes an assistant might be advantageous for his current work. And so starts our days at the guild, doing menial tasks for Severian, things like distilling water, making antidotes, and beeswax. The last thing being actually his guild chore, but it was kind of foisted onto us as he is far too busy with his current experiments. Through our work, we start to hear people's opinions on the guildmaster. He is seen as eccentric and almost mad, spending every minute of the day at the workbench on his experiments. And they are honestly not wrong. At times we can find him half asleep at his work, and any duties meant for the guildmaster are handed on to us instead. So the question comes to, what is he doing? What has taken over his life so completely? So let's get to know Severian. While it is now common to see the sleep-deprived guildmaster lost in his obsessive work, or passed out on the laboratorium floor on a pillow of parchments, he was not always like this. He was born from a reputable Midlander family with ties to the syndicate. This afforded him good education and the chance to pursue his interest in the alchemical art. He was supported by his family and quickly became a man of note within the guild, known for his obsession with his work. It being so that if you happen to talk to him and mention anything related to alchemy, you might just be sat down for an intense lecture about all the properties of certain ingredients and potions. This dedication brought him two things: the role of the guildmaster and the love of Vanaya, a Migote who found his obsession to be quite charming and sweet, and to him, she was the love of his life. Vanaya and her sister Wabuela were both conjurers. Before settling in Ul'dah, they traveled the land together, going on various adventures. But when finding a more permanent place in Ul'dah, Vanaya had the chance to meet Severian, and the pair fell in love. When the calamity happened, Severian and the Alchemist Guild worked hard to offer any aid to those going to fight the Garlean at the Cardinal Flats, and Vanaya and Wabuela went with the army to offer their conjurer aid. And sadly, Wabuela returned with Vanaya's body. And since then, Severian fell into absolute obsession of finding a way to bring his love back. There is something he has to tell her, and until he can do that, there is no rest for him. Barely any food, no sleeping in a bed. Nothing has existed for him for the past 5 years than finding a way to bring her back. This has led to him to ignoring everything: the guild duties, his own health, his honor and reputation. All of it is cast to the wind, so he can focus on his one and only task. We get to see these issues in person when one day we are asked to make a blinding potion. Severin says some Mikate girl will be picking it up, and she's apparently associated with one of the illegal gangs in the city. We are not quite sure about this, but luckily when we bring the potion, we learn that the girl picking it up is no other than Wabuela, who now is a Sultan's Warren, who is working undercover in the gang known as the Velvet Hands. Apparently they have been intending to use this potion to rob the palace, but she is putting a stop to it. But this act of utter disregard for the law and the safety of the people of Ul'dah causes her to decide she wants her sister's body back from Severin, as it's in his possession. She wants him to stop this absolute madness, and while we go tell Severin what she wants, he doesn't really seem to care. And for a while, our life as a loyal assistant goes on as normal. We keep on doing the tasks sent to the Guildmaster so he can fully and wholly dedicate himself to his studies. Until one day, after a few devastating failures, he got it. He has finally perfected the procedure, and all he needs is an item of importance to Vanaya to guide her soul back from the ethereal sea. We are sent to speak to Abuela again, who tells us she has nothing of that sort, but does instruct us to speak to the various people of the Waking Sands, where her sister was well known. And that is true. As we explore the sands, we learn about what a kind person she was, and about the unique wand she used to wield. It is this wand we meticulously recreate and bring it to Severin so he can perform the alchemical ritual. And so, with Vanaya's body on the table, and Severin starting the ritual, Ubella comes in, demanding that he returns his sister's body to her. The two start yelling at one another, only for Vanaya to speak up and ask them to stop fighting. And it's here where I start crying every time I play through the scene, as Severin turns to her and says the things he's been needing to say this whole time. The one thing that had compelled him to do all of this. He apologizes. He apologizes for all the time he focused on his alchemy, that he blathered on about his work while she listened in silence. He's sorry he did not use every moment to make her happy. He sees himself as a failure, that he failed to bring her a happy life, to show his love to her. But Vanaya does not agree. He explains that she loved his obsessions, and how happy he made her, before she fades back into the ether, both her body and spirit returning to the ethereal sea, leaving her sister and her lover behind once more. But this was not a failure. Severin's guilt has been lighted, and he has managed to find the closure that so many of us who have lost a loved one wish for. He asks us to give the recreated one to Ubella. While it's no replacement for his sister's body, it is an object her sister's spirit touched, and the two seem to be content with the result. And while I'm sad the sisters did not manage to talk, I am glad to see that Severin is at last free. He is free to explore any part of alchemy he sees fit, to focus on the role of Guildmaster, to find happiness again. And as we finish the Realm Reborn story, I am always dumbfounded that such a touching and interesting story can be found in a crafting questline. And this is why I adore this game. So, what do you think about the Alchemist story in A Realm Reborn? And which job story was your favorite? Let's talk about it down in the comments. And while you're down there, throw me a commendation by liking and subscribing. And in the end, all I want to say is takk fyrir að horfa og eigðu yndislegan dag.